Hi, I'm Mike Graham, and this is Tech Talk. Today, we're going to be taking a look at keeping your fixtures clean on the inside and how to get the most out of your lights and keep the performance as optimal as humanly possible. One of the things about keeping your fixtures going is keeping the insides clean. Typically on an installation like a nightclub or large venues, it's important to go ahead and think about how much haze you're using or pyrotechnics are being used. That's going to tell you how often to keep your fixtures opened up and cleaned out. For me, I'm thinking once a quarter or maybe more often than that if you're using a lot of haze. If you're doing touring, typically you're pulling your fixtures apart after every tour anyways. For corporate rental, where you have installations or jobs where you're low atmospheric use, low haze, low dust, you can even do it twice a year. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the materials we use for cleaning fixtures out, and then we'll get into actually taking some fixtures apart. So here we go. So let's take a look at some of the materials we're going to use to clean these fixtures out. We have a can of compressed air. That's great for getting big chunks out. We've got some Q-tips here, which are great for working inside gobos or color wheels. A brush, which is great for getting hair follicles out and getting into hard to reach places. A screwdriver for opening the fixture up. Mask. Masks are great for when you do get the fixtures opened up. Sometimes the dust that's inside of them is pretty nasty, especially if they're coming out of nightclubs. You can have everything from hair to makeup, sweat, fog fluid, all kinds of stuff builds up inside these fixtures, so it's important to keep yourself from breathing that stuff in, so a mask is great for that. Some lens cleaner. Using glass cleaner isn't the best idea because you never know what's inside of it. Glass cleaner could pit your lenses. Rubbing alcohol is great for getting grime out of your lenses and gobos, and then a microfiber cloth for working everything around. One thing is for cleaning the outsides of these fixtures. We recommend using like Pledge or some kind of a furniture cleaner because that actually doesn't pit the surface. It dries off really quickly and doesn't make the fixture shiny. So that's some good tips there. So taking a look at the inside of this light, like every other Maverick spot and profile, you have certain functions that are in everything. So you have in the front, you have your main optical system. In here, we have our zoom and focus as well as gobos and frost. In the middle here, you have your framing shutter module. And then in the back is CMY color mixing as well as your color wheel and gobos. So we're going to go ahead and take this apart in a second here, but just really quickly, something to think about is that the way the airflow works with this light, you're actually pulling in through these two side vents and everything pulls towards the back. So if you are getting dust in your fixture, again, keep these side vents clean. It's going to help you a lot to start. But you are going to want to take care to clean each section out every so often anyways. Especially again, if you're using a lot of atmospheric, this fixture is going to get dirtier faster. So let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and take the components out of this fixture so it's a little bit easier to look at, and then we'll talk about cleaning those components. So we're just finishing up taking this guy apart. I'll take this module out and just set it over here for a second. And let's go ahead and take a look at some of the inside optical system. Up in the front here again, you have your zoom and focus module. This you don't want to take out unless you absolutely have to. So when you are cleaning this, you're going to clean everything from inside the fixture. And then on the bottom here, you have your LED module. And again, you don't want to take that out unless you absolutely have to because this is actually aligned for the fixture. So if you do move this, you could actually lose output because it won't be dead center of your optical system anymore. So this is like a course of last whatever. Do not take the LED module out of the fixture. So let's go ahead and get inside this guy and let's talk about how to clean it. So we're going to go ahead and clean off some of the lenses that are still inside the fixture here really quick. So again, lens cleaner, stay away from glass cleaner because you don't know what's in it and it could affect your coatings on your lenses. Never spray directly onto a glass surface because you may have overspray. It's important to just spray a little bit right onto the fabric. We're using a microfabric cloth here. And always rub in a circular motion. Don't ever go straight across. God forbid you do scratch your lenses. You want to do it in a radial fashion as opposed to straight across. It's less noticeable. And then just make sure everything is dry. Always use brand new cloths or fresh out of the washing machine. That way you don't have any kind of debris on them. When you do get into your upper optics here, again, same basic principle. Pull stuff out of the way that you don't want to clean off. Clean off in a circular motion. And you can get the backs from inside the lens, or just push the lens back up and through. You can get inside and behind your optics, super easy, good to go. Again, when it comes to your front optic, same basic principle, outside, inside, circular motion, and you're good to go. You do want to make sure you get all your optics, don't forget anything, so don't forget to pull this lens down, and then get up underneath on the inside and on top here. Again, circular motions, no glass cleaner, stick with your lens cleaner. So one of the things to think about when you are cleaning fans, you don't want the fans to actually free spin. Sounds really cool, but it's really bad for the fan motors themselves. Two reasons. Number one, if this was all still plugged up, when you do blow air through this, if it is free spinning, you're actually creating power feedback to the rest of the fixture, which can actually cause problems with the rest of your light. So don't do that. Always make sure and block your fan vent with something before you blow air through it. Never let your fans free spool. So when it comes to working the framing shutter module, because it's just mechanicals, there's no glass in here, just grab a brush and knock off the edges really quick. Basically all you're trying to do here is make sure that you don't have any kind of debris or dust or hairs that are building up on the leading edges. Just because there's nothing worse than rolling in your shutters with a nice focus and then there's like a hair on the edge, not good. For the iris, which you can see right there in the middle, run that in with my thumb with the gear. That gear is right here where my thumb is. So I can run that in, and again, I'm just going to brush off the iris just to make sure that there's nothing on the leaves. And maybe do the back side really quick again. And that's it for this module. Really easy. So for your CMY and gobo and color wheel module, it takes a little more time to clean this, so I'm just going to go over it kind of quickly. You can actually run, if you can see on the inside here, there's some gears up here. I can actually run the filters in and out with my finger. So that way I can run each individual filter in and out. I'm going to go ahead and use a Q-tip for this. I like the Q-tips because I don't have to apply a lot of pressure. And if they're super nasty, I'm going to go ahead and start with rubbing alcohol to get all the nasty off of there. If they're not too bad, I might just use lens cleaner. The trick is though, is you want to make sure that they're totally dry, so you don't have any streaking on them. So whatever you do, you just want to make sure that you finish with a nice clean surface, whether you use the rubbing alcohol or the lens cleaner. Again, if it's nasty, rubbing alcohol. If they're not too bad, go ahead and just use a little bit of lens cleaner. It doesn't take a lot, just a little bit. Again, especially with dichroics, because they are coated, it's a coated piece of glass, you do not want to use any kind of glass cleaner on these because it will totally ruin the emulsion on your dichroic and your colors will never be the same again. So when you are attacking these things with your cotton swab, small circles. And it's just a matter of keeping them clean and getting all the dust and debris off. And then from the back side, what you want to do, so that you don't have to open the entire bulkhead up, is you're going to just basically drop inside of here. If you can see it through this hole, that's pretty much the optical, that's where your aperture is going through, that's where your light's going through. So as long as everything that you can see through this hole is clean, you're in good shape. Again, while we're here, we can do the gobos, again, in nice circles. Again, just making sure that as you go, you dry off everything nice and evenly. That way you don't get any streaks, because I'll tell you one thing is that if you do get streaks on the gobos, you're gonna see them clear as day. As soon as you focus on it, it's gonna be streak. So just make sure that when you do clean these off, even if you can clean it off with a dry Q-tip and not have anything on it at all, it just knocks the dust off, great. But the whole thing here is keeping everything streak free. Same thing when you get to the color wheel. You're gonna open this up, wheel the color wheel through, and you're just gonna clean everything from the back side, and then flip it over, make sure you have this opened up again. And then as soon as you get this thing back opened up again, you can see the color wheel on this side. Go ahead and clean that guy off. As far as the animation wheel goes, you shouldn't see a whole lot of stuff coming up, building up on the animation wheel. But again, you can just go ahead, hit that with Q-tip again, knock any dust off or debris off, because again, if you focus on that unit again, it's gonna go ahead and look nice if you have it nice and clean. If you do have a lot of dust and debris build up in here, again, you can use the compressed air. The drawback to using compressed air is that while you're blowing your dust off of one surface, it's going someplace else. So if you are using compressed air, just use it sparingly. Also use it from a bit of a distance, because you don't want the condensation from the spray to build up on anything that you're going to have to go in there and clean off again. Compressed air for me is a bastion of last resort when you get inside the modules themselves. Great for bigger stuff, not so great for smaller stuff. Remember when you're plugging the fans back in, you'll notice that both fans on the labels just say fans. It doesn't matter which one they go into. You can plug them either way. The way that the sensors work, the sensors see both of these fans as one fan, so no problem there. And we're going to take a look at this little guy here. This is a Rogue R2X wash. This is the variable white version of them. But with the Rogue washes, they're all pretty much the same. And the reason that we're going to go to a wash fixture right now is to cover a couple of simple things but important things with these guys here. Number one, with the optics in the front, again, you just want to use lens cleaner and a microfiber cloth to go over the front side of it. They'll take care of 95% of debris and get that off of there. With wash lights, as with profiles and spots, you want to keep that optical system as clean as possible, because the cleaner it is, the more output you get out of it. You can lose anywhere between 10 and 25% of your output just by having dirty lenses, so it is important to go ahead and keep those optics clean. Again, just going over the front of this with a microfiber cloth, a little bit of lead cleaning solution, you're good to go. So we've already taken the screws out of this back cover, so it's going to go ahead and take it off. And from inside here, you can see the main fan, the PCB here, and then a heat sink up in here. Typically, this is where you'll see a buildup of haze fluid or fog fluid, dust, hair, all that stuff likes to stick on all these surfaces here. You don't have to demount this PC board because it is conformal coated, which means that all the components are actually, there's a lacquer seal over the entire PCB. So don't worry about having to pull this thing off of here to clean out the inside. Compressed air, good enough. You can blow that right through on the top and on the bottom side here, and blow out all the stuff out the capacitors and all that, so you're not building up places for heat to build up. Go ahead, block your fan from moving again. And blow out all the gunky stuff that's inside there. Give it a quick wipe off. Make sure all the stuff that was on there is gone, and you're as good as new. For more information on this or any of our other topics, check us out online at CHAUVETprofessional.com, Until next time, I'm Mike Graham with Tech Talk.